we now have more evidence that the fourth largest country in the world is making a Bitcoin backflip. They cannot resist the FOMO that I have on screen right now. There are, at the time we're recording, 24 different countries all talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and this $4 trillion giant that made an enormous Bitcoin blunder cannot stay away from Bitcoin. There are multiple new receipts and new pieces of information that have dropped in the past week while everybody was distracted with their New Year's resolutions and their New Year's parties that suggest that this country is going to be making a Bitcoin pivot. Who are we talking about? Some people might have guessed who we're talking about. The fourth largest country in the world, we are talking about Germany. Their former finance minister, as you can see, has come out on the 30th of December urging the German central bank to consider Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. Okay, so why is this piece of news coming out on the 30th of December, a day before New Year's Eve? I don't know, but I always encourage you guys to pay very, very, very close attention to what these European countries are doing and on the dates that they are doing it. Because let's not forget, wasn't it Italy dropped a new research paper on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, only a week ago, calling Bitcoin peer-to-peer crime, peer-to-peer criminal activity, trying to demonize the idea of peer-to-peer transactions. I said, hey, pay very close attention to that, especially considering the fact that Italy is what? A G7, a G8 country. They're absolutely enormous. Now let's have a look here. There's a few dominoes and data points I want to show you regarding this German story that I think is super interesting, okay? Despite Germany paper handing and fumbling the 50,000 Bitcoin that the government held earlier in the year, let's not forget Bitcoin adoption in Germany, it's not bad, okay? Let's have a look at this chart here. I just found this morning. Me and my new little research assistant, we found some interesting data points about Germany that I want to show you guys that we haven't actually talked about before on this channel. So we can see here, 5.8% of all Germans own some sort of cryptocurrency. I'm going to zoom that up so you guys can see what I'm cooking with here. And 69% of those 6% of German populations own Bitcoin. Would you call the country Bitcoin maximalists? Not quite. But what you would say is that tens of millions of Germans own Bitcoin. We can see they've got 84 million people living in Germany. They're a massive country. This is why the German language is one of the most popular languages spoken all around the world. And again, quick maths. 6% of 84 million. Well, I might have done myself in here. That's some pretty tough numbers. That would be around, what's that, 7 to 8 million German people, maybe 9 million people own Bitcoin. It's not bad penetration, don't you think? Not bad at all if you ask me. Let's jump on back over to this little thing that I've got here. So we can see that 35% of German quote-unquote crypto holders use Bitcoin for purchases, and 72% of these 8 million German hodlers spend at least 100 euros buying Bitcoin every month. So they're DCAing into Bitcoin, which I found interesting. And again, when you compare the adoption of Bitcoin in Germany against some of its European counterparts, we're going to find some pretty interesting data points. Because as you can see here, this is a different study, and they found that Germans' adoption of Bitcoin was around 12%. They are in the bottom third of this chart here. Now, I want to draw your attention to just how high the adoption is in some of these bigger countries. We can see Switzerland, 21%, Netherlands, 19%, Norway, 17%, Belgium, 16%. Then we have Germany all the way down here lagging a little bit at 12%. Okay, again, I haven't showed you this chart before, guys. I think it's an interesting one. really does show that despite all of the negative headlines that we have continually showed you guys regarding Europe and what the European bureaucrats and globalists are doing, and again, we always like to remind you guys, the globalists are centered out of Europe. Where is the World Economic Forum's annual Davos meeting held every year? Davos, Switzerland. Interesting. Even more interesting when we consider Switzerland has the highest amount of Bitcoin adoption in the world with 21%. Judging by this new chart here we just found. Interesting. Again, who has a Bitcoin city? Switzerland. We're going to come back to Switzerland in a moment, but again, for those who might be new, let's not forget, Germany absolutely paper-handed their Bitcoin, which is why I do think it's very interesting that maybe they're going to say, okay, we lost $2 billion by selling Bitcoin too early. Everybody knows that's a mistake. Okay, we can see lots of experts now are absolutely dunking on Germany. Experts analyze the impact of German government's major Bitcoin sell-off. Everybody knows that was a terrible decision. Absolutely everybody knows that, which is why I find it fascinating that their former finance minister is urging the central bank to consider Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Let's dive into the breaking news in a little bit more detail. We can see Christian Lindner has advocated for including Bitcoin in the European Central Bank and Bundesbank reserves to strengthen financial resilience and keep pace with global trends. Now, again, before we start talking about those global trends that the former finance minister is talking about and the FOMO that is being created by this global wave of adoption, he mentioned something interesting. He's urging not only the Bundesbank, so the central bank of Germany, to adopt Bitcoin, he's also telling the ECB. He's saying it's not enough if the fourth largest country's central bank adopts Bitcoin. We want the ECB to do the same. I think that's an interesting little data point there that a lot of people have missed with this recent announcement, this recent piece of news that is floating around a little bit unnoticed because it was released on the 30th of December. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? What I will tell you guys is I always like to keep very, very close attention on when the bureaucrats are saying certain things about Bitcoin. Obviously, speaking of bureaucrats saying funny things about Bitcoin, I want to also remind you guys of what the head of the ECB has said about Bitcoin when asked about Bitcoin, because I think it's pretty illuminating. So I'm going to play this video for you guys. I'm going to cross my fingers, my toes, and the other parts of my body I can cross, and really hope that the audio plays for you guys here. Let's listen to what Christine Lagarde thinks about Bitcoin.
And there has to be regulations, and this has to be applied and agreed upon. It's a matter that needs to be agreed at a global level, because if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be.
Give me a juice, Jared.
If anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action is absolutely needed. Whether it's initiated by the G7, moved into the G20, and then enlarged, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And FATF is clearly an organization that has expanded in that respect.
All right, there you have it. That is the head of the ECB saying that Bitcoin has been used to conduct a lot of funny business. But I'm more interested by the fact that she said Bitcoin is an escape valve that is going to be used. It's an escape valve from what? Enslavement with central bank digital currencies? I think that's probably what Christine Lagarde is saying. They are saying the quiet parts out loud. And now I find it absolutely fascinating that we have former finance ministers of the fourth largest country saying things like this, saying, we screwed up. We shouldn't have sold our 50,000 Bitcoin. We need to reconsider using Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Let's go back to this global FOMO thing that we mentioned earlier. Because former finance minister said, look, Donald Trump-led administration is looking to adopt a progressive approach towards Bitcoin and including it into the Federal Reserve's reserves alongside traditional assets like gold. I think there's a little bit of double speak in that quote because, again, the Federal Reserve is not federal and they have no reserves. But that's neither here or there for today's stream. What I think is fascinating is some of the largest finance ministers in some of the largest countries in the world are saying, look at this global FOMO. We need to pay very, 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 very close attention to what the rest of the world is doing. Because Germany has a hell of a history of making absolutely terrible decisions that just clearly did not pan out the way they should have panned out. Again, we might talk about the 100-year anniversary of some of the most impactful financial events that did come out of Germany. Of course, we're talking about something that happened in 1924, but I'm not going to talk about that just now. What I am going to do is I'm going to once again encourage you, please do not be like the German finance minister. Please do not be like the country of Germany and sell your Bitcoin today. Yes, we're at $100,000 Bitcoin. Yes, some long-term holders have recently taken some profit and sold a little bit of Bitcoin. We've got a video coming up where I'm going to show you guys the interesting behavior of the hundreds of thousands of long-term holders who have been selling their Bitcoin. I also have a little bit of a special video coming up for you guys regarding 2024 recaps and 2025 predictions. In researching that video, I was a little bit surprised to see the long-term holders sell so much Bitcoin at 100K. Because typically your long-term holders, they are the smart money. And the short-term holders, people who've held Bitcoin for less than 188 days, they're typically the dumb money. But I'm actually going to make the case for you guys in a future video for why the roles have kind of reversed. And all of a sudden, the long-term holders and the Bitcoin OGs, I don't think they should be considered the smart money anymore. I actually think they're the dumb money. That's probably going to be a topic for another video. Okay? Before I tell you more about who I think is the new smart money, let's check in on the chat. Let's see what you guys are doing here on a Thursday afternoon on the second beautiful day of 2025. TraderNext says German plebs bought the Bitcoin from the government. That's exactly what I think has happened. It is absolutely what has happened. And again, let's be very careful. Yes, we should never trust a politician. Yes, politics is a scam. And this guy could just be fishing for votes, appealing to the Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin is in Germany. Could be true. Again, we always like to mention that. We should not be trusting politicians. My man, Nico's in the chat. I wish that were true, Nico. I think you are the YouTube genius. Again, if you're not following Simply Bitcoin, go and follow them. Nico started a revolution that I'm just trying to... What's the correct word? Well, Nico inspired me to start my YouTube channel. I think that's the best framing. Simply Bitcoin's been crushing it for 4 years now. So go and follow Nico. I hope to one day be considered Nico Jr. Thank you, Nico. Bitcoin is built from the ashes. Hashes? Ooh, I like that. Eric's put a twist on that. Bitcoin is built from hashes, not decree. Green Candle's in the house with me right now. I don't know if you guys know or not. Me and the big man himself, Brandon Keys, are sharing a house here in Colombia. I don't know where he is right now. He's probably out there cooking. Oh, no. Whoa, wait on. Who's that? There he is. Look who it is.
What are you doing over here?
Come say g'day, mate. Come say hello to the people.
G'day, mate.
Oh,
There we go.
Australian accent. Look at that.
There we go. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Say good day to the people, mate.
Good day, good day. Oh, there we go. Look at everybody in the chat. Everybody, smash the like button for my man Luke here. Hit the subscribe button. He's working hard. We're out here grinding in Medellin, so keep it up, man.
Fucking oath we're grinding. Smash that like button. Again, if you're not following Green Candle's YouTube channel, you definitely should check him out. Click on that little profile in the live chat. He is pumping out live streams himself, and definitely check out what he's doing. Johnny Midas says, hey, Brandon. All right, let's get back on track here. Let's talk about Germany, because I think this is big news, okay, for multiple reasons. Germany has a history of doing some really, really, really stupid things. Who remembers what they did with their so-called transition to renewable energy? Oh, we're going to be so progressive. We're going to shut down all of these fossil fuel plants. We're going to transition to all of these renewable sources of energy, right? That's what Germany tried to do. They tried to shut down their nuclear power plants, and they absolutely bombed. They absolutely failed. Electricity prices absolutely soared. The country was impoverished. Electricity prices up 3-4x in 2022. And again, it's not the first time Germany's made a stupid decision. Again, I always remind you guys, look what happened to the hyperinflation of the German mark back in 1923/24, exactly 100 years ago from today. I really do think the decision from the German government to paper hand and sell their Bitcoin was an absolutely stupid one. It's one that if you are in Germany, you do really need to protect yourself from. Okay, please do not hold German marks, because they will end up just like the euros that are being used in Europe today. They will hyperinflate, which is why I always encourage you guys, just go and buy some Bitcoin. If you don't have any Bitcoin today in 2025, it's a little bit different to have to say that now, but it is 2025. And if you don't own Bitcoin, please put 10 hours into studying Bitcoin. Once you do that, you will understand that Bitcoin is the best asset in the entire world to own. Okay. When you do own your Bitcoin, I always encourage you guys, take that shit off the exchange. Do not trust an exchange or an ETF issuer with your precious Bitcoin. Put it into self-custody. And once you do control your Bitcoin private keys, your Bitcoin 12 or 24 words, I always encourage you guys to stamp those puppies into titanium. And that is why I always like to encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is doing. As you can see, you can stamp your Bitcoin 12 or 24 words into titanium. It's super easy to use. It really is idiot proof. Again, you guys know, certainly not the most intelligent person getting around here, but I have successfully stamped my Bitcoin private keys into titanium. I encourage you guys to do the same. And again, you can get 15% discount off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with that promo code Luke15. Okay, so check that out. Highly encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is doing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Germany and exactly what this former finance minister is saying about Bitcoin. Again, look at that. All Night High to my man has put that promo code in the chat for you guys. So again, he's even put a link in there for me. Stop it. Promo code Luke15. Go and check it out. Definitely go check out what Stampseed is doing. Okay. Now, Germany, again, fourth largest country in the world. They got a $4 trillion GDP. They are very quickly, very rapidly reversing their decision about Bitcoin. I really do think that this is something we need to be paying attention to. If you are really scratching your head and you're saying, hang on a minute, why is the fourth largest country potentially making a pivot and saying, yeah, you know what? We might have sold those 50,000 Bitcoin a couple of months ago. Yes, we lost $2 billion in the process by making that fire sale. Maybe we should reconsider our decision. Ask yourselves why. Why is the fourth largest country doing this? I think it all goes back to education. And again, that's why I always encourage you guys to educate yourself about Bitcoin. Again, there are great ways to learn about Bitcoin. You can watch my crazy live streams of me dropping economic rants about all sorts of crazy shit. If you can't put up with my crazy accent and you prefer to read to educate yourself about Bitcoin, I always encourage you guys to get your hands on some books. Again, a book that I love is this one right here, That is Bitcoin Evangelism. I think it's super easy to read. I think it's short, it's sweet, it's concise. Yes, there's some very long books in Bitcoin. I've read them all. I'm guilty. I've read the Bitcoin Standard. I've read Broken Money by Lynn Alden. Yeah, they're great books, but I mean, they're 600-page whoppers. I understand that. I know they can be a little bit dense, which is why I like little, easier to consume pieces of orange pill like that puppy right there. That's Bitcoin Evangelism, written by Brian DeMint. He's, of course, also the founder of Orange Pill app. So I always encourage you guys to get your hands on a copy of Bitcoin Evangelism and educate yourself about Bitcoin, because the world is slowly coming around to realize what Bitcoin is. I always encourage you guys, you have an opportunity today to front run these bureaucrats like the German central bank, who is right now showing signs that they are pivoting on their Bitcoin decision. Right now, you have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin before these clowns and these bureaucrats and these overlords like Larry Fink, the world's largest asset manager, who is right now, over the past 12 months, just accumulated what? 500,000 Bitcoin, 2% of the total supply. Front run that idiot. Today's your chance. Bitcoin's under 100K. It won't be under 100K for very much longer. So again, with all that said, guys, educate yourself about Bitcoin. Keep an eye on what Germany is doing. The timing of the former finance minister releasing that and urging the central bank to buy Bitcoin on December 30th, while we were all distracted with New Year's Eve, I think that's something to be keeping an eye on. TraderNext in the chat is the only German. Oh no, there's a couple Germans in the chat. With all that said, guys, there's 707 of you guys tuning in from YouTube and Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. You're going to catch me in another one about 24 hours time, so stay tuned for that. And I will just say, I hope you're having a good start to 2025. I'll see you in the next one.